Of course, the whole country is eagerly anticipating that report, and as well as politicians. For more on this, let's cross now to my colleague Bulelani Phillip. Thank you very much, Bulelani, for joining us. So what are the expectations on the ground where you are?
Well, good afternoon to you, Nompu, and to the viewers at home. Of course, there is a lot of anticipation, not only from political parties, but also from civil society, as well as constitutional watchdog bodies. But of course, on the political front, the parliamentarians have been consistently saying in the lead up to the release of this final report that Parliament has shown that in the past it has failed to actually execute its oversight role in terms of making sure that these acts of state capture that were seen in the past do not exist. But now what they are saying is that after the release of this final report, Parliament will actually have to strengthen its role in terms of playing oversight role, as well as ensuring that all the recommendations and the action plan that will be presented to this institution are actually followed up by all the relevant bodies. So that is the one issue that is being said on the political front. But of course, as well as the constitutional watchdog bodies have also been saying the very same thing, that of course, even going to a point where they're saying that the role of Parliament has actually got to be redesigned to ensure that this oversight role that this institution plays is actually strengthened, and the teeth of Parliament are actually biting those that are implicated in acts of maladministration as well as state capture. On the front of labour unions, also out in the stumbling blocks, also calling for action when this final report is actually released, saying that the state capture phenomenon has actually cost a lot of jobs in some of the SOEs in the country, including South African Airways, Dinel, Prasa, and the like. So they want to see action that all those people that were part and parcel of this state capture phenomenon are actually brought to book. Nompu?
Bulelani, I don't know if you can hear me, but of course you talk about a potential overhaul of the way things are done in Parliament. How do you think that would be done, given your experience covering Parliament? Because ultimately it does, the majority party tends to command what happens in Parliament. And we know that it was partly because the majority party, the ANC,
Of course, Nompu, that has been a point that has been raised in many debates that come before the House, where there is the argument that members of political parties have actually taken an allegiance to the constitution rather than to the party, and they ought to be actually trying to protect the values enshrined in the constitution rather than following party lines, because at the end of the day, those MPs have actually got the responsibility of ensuring that they actually, comply with the spirit and the letter of the law of the Constitution. Now, the question then arises that whether will political parties actually allow their members across the political spectrum to actually now start beginning to express their views based perhaps maybe on this, system that has been muted all these years along, of whether they must take, a mandate from the constituencies that actually elected them, and be those the views of those constituencies that actually gain a preference in Parliament rather than the party line. But that is a question that really is a difficult one to answer at the moment. But what the political parties are saying, as well as some of the legal experts that actually play an oversight role in terms of the work of Parliament, is that Parliament has actually got to start taking some of the recommendations that are put before the House seriously, and ensure that they are actually carried out, and actually their recommendations are actually don't gather dust on the shelf. And they've also actually cited this work of the Zondo Commission that is actually cost over R1 billion, and it will be actually something that is very wrong if those recommendations and the report are brought here to Parliament only to gather dust on the shelves.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Bulelani. My colleague there, Bulelani Phillip, reporting from Parliament. It's that time where we catch up with